What's going on, guys? JSGC here, and we're here for another Manchester City video. Today we're going to be previewing the Manchester City away game against Burnley at Turf Moor in the Premier League on a cold Tuesday night at Turf Moor. With a current run of form, we've won in our last 5. This isn't an ideal game for us. At the Etihad I'd be quite happy, but it's not. This is going to be a very, very difficult game for City. But before we preview this game, make sure, like always, if you're enjoying the content, then make sure you subscribe to my channel by pressing that red button and pressing the bell and putting your push notifications on to be notified immediately when I do upload. Looking for 5,100 subscribers. We're only 6 away, so if you're interested in enjoying the content, why not subscribe? Don't forget you can go check out my social media links, which you can find in the description below and popping up on screen for my Twitter and Instagram if you want to go and follow me on there. That'd be much appreciated. Don't forget, leave your thumbs up if you enjoy this video, and don't forget also, leave your thoughts in the comments below with your score and team prediction for this game. So we're going to crack on this video, and like always, we're going to be speaking about our opposition first, Burnley. Great time they'll be thinking of playing Manchester City. They had a good run of form up until this weekend, winning the last 2 games, but they lost at home against Crystal Palace 2-0, very disappointing result for them. So they're going to want to respond, much like Man City are going to want to respond after drawing 2-2 away at Newcastle at St James's Park. So both teams not in great run of form here. Both teams going to be looking for a response. Burnley in front of their home fans. They're going to want to raise their game, and they'll be thinking it's a great time to be playing Man City whilst they're playing as bad as what we are, and kind of not doing the basics of defending right. They know if they can create 2 or 3 good opportunities there, if they can put them away, they stand a very good chance of picking up at least 1 point. So yeah, we've got a lot of hard work to be doing. This is a game where if you want to have a successful season at the top of the Premier League, you're going away to these tricky places, you need to be picking up all 3 points. Something up until the last month and a half, we've kind of struggled ever since we've been, ever since the Wolves game, I'd say. I mean, the Norwich game we lost, but we weren't in terrible form. I mean, August was good form. The recovery from the Norwich game was all wins up until that Wolves game, and we kind of just struggled from there. And yeah, we had a sticky November, and now we're into the busy December schedule, and we're needing a very good December really to get us back on track, because if we don't, we're going to have a very unsuccessful season in terms of the Premier League anyway. And so it's all about what our aim is for the end of the season. We'll have a better understanding, of course, once we get around to January. So it's all about these next few games in December. Cold Tuesday night at Burnley. Very difficult game, but it's good that Man City, after picking up a disappointing result, are playing only 3 or 4 days later. When you played every 3 or 4 days, if you get a bad result, you can't dwell on it too much. Your body and your mind's too busy thinking about recovery that you just go into your next game, which I don't know if it's an advantage for City or not. It is in the aspects that we're not dwelling on things, but it also isn't, because serious things need addressing at Man City, like how bad we are defensively, changing things up and making things nice and fresh, because at the moment everything's too passive, everything's a bit too pedestrian, everything's all too predictable at City, so things do need shaking up a little bit. How we do that, I don't know. I'm going to leave that to Pep Guardiola, and I'm probably going to analyse and see what he does, because Pep gets paid a lot of money to try and sort these things out. So it'll be interesting to see over the next few weeks how we do respond. Now for Burnley, like I said, they're going to fancy their chances in this game. They're in front of their home fans. They've got a powerful team. They're a team that will look to target set pieces. They do like playing 2 up top. Be quite dangerous for them to be overrun in midfield if they're going to go 2 up top. So it wouldn't surprise me to maybe see someone like Barnes starting in this game and dropping a lot deeper to make up the gaps there, and maybe leaving Chris Wood up top on his own. And if Burnley are attacking, it could change into a front 2. I'm not too sure, that might be the direction they go, but I imagine that Burnley will be playing a lot longer balls, trying to look for space. So it's very important that their wide players get involved in this game. And so I'm thinking that something that's very important for City here is trying to man-mark their wingers out of this game. In particular, one player, McNeil, I think he's a fantastic player, a good young player by the way, plays on the left of Burnley, so City are going to be kept very busy by him, particularly to start finding space. He'll be getting involved in the game, and so if Walker or Cancelo starting, whoever starting at right back, probably going to have to sit a little bit deeper. So I'm not too sure which one I'd go for. I was calling for Kyle Walker to be starting for the Newcastle game, because he was in good form. I thought he did okay, but it was nothing spectacular. It was nothing that I was kind of looking for. So it'll be interesting to see what Pep judges. But City are just going to have to squad rotate, even if we picked up good results in the last few weeks, because we're playing every 3 or 4 days. Players can't play every single game. So it'll be interesting to see who keeps their position, who doesn't, and how we go into this game. But one thing that is needed definitely is a response. Now, former Manchester City man Joe Hart, he plays for Burnley, won't be starting in this game. It will be Nick Pope, which makes me sad, not because I think Joe Hart's a terrible goalkeeper, but I like Joe Hart. I think he's a great goalkeeper, and it would be nice to see him starting against Manchester City, so all the fans can show their appreciation to Joe Hart and all his dedicated services that he did provide to Manchester City. So it makes me sad that someone as professional and as good as Joe Hart was for City, that is now sitting on the bench at another club and can't even get into a starting role. It's a very frustrating time for Joe Hart, and it makes me sad, if I'm completely honest. But yeah, there we go. I think Burnley's strengths come at the back. I'm talking players like Ben Mee. I'm talking players like Tarkowski. I'm surprised other Premier League clubs haven't come calling for these players just yet. No disrespect to Burnley, but Burnley, they're not going to try and compete financially with clubs that can afford to pay these big money. So I'm just surprised that no club has come calling, because I rate these players. I think they're very good players, and it would surprise me if in a year or two's time these players haven't been targeted. Love to know opposition's view of that, of course, from the Burnley fans. So do let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'd also be interested if any Burnley fans are watching it. What's your opinion of City and what's happening at City at this moment in time? Always interested in football and opinions. It is interesting, if anything. But yeah, I think that's one of their strengths. I think they've got a good midfield. They've got players like Hendricks there. So yeah, it's going to be a difficult game. These players will be nice and fired up. They're going to want to send a statement out. It's going to be a very difficult game for City. Like I said, cold Tuesday night, 8:15, weird kickoff because it's live on Amazon Prime. First Premier League games to be on Amazon Prime too. I was going to say it could be an upset, but if you used to say that City drop points, it wouldn't surprise me. So, yeah, we need a response and we need a good performance here. I mean, offer me anything that's 3 points right now and I'll snap your hand off and just move into our next game. But this is a game it's important. We can't just let these Premier League games just keep slipping on by and we're dropping points after points. 1 win in 5 in all competitions. Not really good enough for the level that City are going for. I mean, City have set the precedent. We know the level that we can get to, and it is a very high standard, and maybe some people, including me, have forgotten just how high these standards are, and so you come to expect it. That isn't the case necessarily, but I do expect City to be able to put out good performances and putting their neck on the lines and putting their heart and soul into the game, which I don't get that vibe. I get a very professional vibe from City, but we're looking for more. We're looking for a bit of passion. I feel like that's what's missing at City, a little bit of leadership, a little bit of passion. Someone just to drive the players, give them that little rocket that they need on the pitch. Of course, I'm confident that Pep's doing that in the dressing room, but it needs to happen on the pitch too, so we need players to be able to stand up. Kevin De Bruyne showed it against Newcastle. We're needing more players to be able to stand up, particularly the senior players as well. So I'm talking the David Silvas, the Fernandinhos, to start getting more involved in the game. And speaking of Fernandinho, I really hope this is the game where we finally see him go back at defensive midfield, because I feel like he's run his course at centre-back. I'd like to see Otamendi and Stones at centre-back and Fernandinho sitting in front. Could go into a back three when we're off the ball or on the ball, however you want to work it. But Fernandinho breaking up play higher up is one thing that really works for City, because it stops these counter-attacks and these 1 or 2 opportunities that oppositions have started creating against us. Not necessarily because I think Rodri is a bad player, but I don't think Rodri is as visually aware or as experienced as Fernandinho. He knows danger, Fernandinho, and he started committing more and more fouls after at centre-back, and he is running the risk with no cover there, eventually picking up a straight red card for being the last man. So yeah, I think Fernandinho's a great defensive midfielder, and I'd like to see him starting at defensive midfield for us, particularly with Gundogan being suspended for picking up 5 yellow cards. I think it's a good time to go for Stones, Otamendi at centre back and going for Fernandinho at defensive midfield. But if we're going to be predictable, then you probably expect Rodri to be starting at defensive midfield and Fernandinho at centre back. Yeah, I'd like to see maybe a bit of Eric Garcia too. I don't know about you, just to see something, try something a little bit new. If that means a couple of young players coming in, or if that means change of formation, just something, changing it up. Because what's happening at the moment and what we're doing at the moment, it isn't working. 1 win in 5, it isn't working. You know what I mean? Teams know they sit deep, and Burnley are going to sit deep too. They know that it works. City get frustrated. City make mistakes. They come forward, 1 or 2 opportunities, 1 or 2 goals, and boom, they're picking up points. Maybe 1, maybe even more. So yeah, something needs to be done from City end, in my opinion. Other team news for Man City, of course, we're missing Aymeric Laporte. Huge blow for us, obviously, and missing Leroy Sané again, another huge blow. And Alexander Zinchenko should be back in the next week or so, which is much needed at left back. So it'll be interesting to see if we go with Mendy again, who didn't have a great game against Newcastle, so I'd probably go with Angelino in my honest opinion. Now, my head's telling me 2-1 to Burnley in this game. I think that Burnley's going to raise their game. I think we're going to struggle to match their intensity, and if they come forward and we start making mistakes, they will punish us. That's just me feeling how I'm feeling at this moment in time, a bit pessimistic, a bit low. You know what I mean? We're needing a big pick-me-up, so my head's telling me another difficult game, and I'm sensing City may well drop points, and if we play as bad as what we have in a couple of the games and a bit too passive, Burnley are the type of team, particularly on their own patch, going up against a good quality side, which I'll add, they've struggled against good quality sides this season, so they'll want to turn that around. We're going to struggle, so we're going to have to do a little bit more and do things differently. But that's my opinion. Love to know your thoughts of that in the comments below. My heart's telling me 2-1 Manchester City. Let's go, boys. Let's get back on winning ways. So there's a bit of positivity. Pop up my team prediction now for you quickly. I've gone for Edison in goal. I've gone for Kyle Walker. Wouldn't surprise me to see Cancelo, but I've gone with Walker at right back, Angelino at left back, and like I said, Stones and Otamendi, Fernandinho sitting in defence and midfield. Gone for De Bruyne. Obviously, I think he's City's best player, has to be starting in this game. Then, I'm not sure, David Silva, Phil Foden, which one did you go for? Wouldn't surprise me to see Phil Foden get a bit of bite, a bit of hunger, a bit of passion in the middle. Young City lad coming in from the academy, can't wait to be starting in games like this, so maybe give him a run around, see how it goes. I thought David Silva first half had a decent game against Newcastle, showing signs of his old self. Second half, not so much. So I've gone for David Silva for a bit of experience, maybe give him another couple of opportunities, see how it goes, but it's getting to a point where Phil Foden needs to be starting more games, and while we're in a bad run of form, he may well be the player to turn it round. Could we see him start? It would not surprise me. I've gone for Raheem Sterling on the right and Bernardo Silva on the left. It wouldn't maybe surprise me to see Riyad Mahrez starting on the left, being a left-footed winger. Bernardo Silva obviously a winger too, so you know, take a pick which one. But Raheem Sterling, to me, if things are looking ineffective on one wing, move them around. Raheem Sterling doesn't have to keep cutting in. He can start hogging the byline and start stretching the pitch and making that Burnley pitch nice and big, tiring the opposition out. Because whilst we've been bad defensively, offensively, like, we're not putting our chances away. So we need to go back to what worked, and stretching that pitch, making it nice and big, is what would work. And playing good quality players, what suits them, it works. Like, Raheem Sterling is just as effective, in my opinion, on the right as he is on the left. He's a winger, so surely we've got to be seeing the same from Mahrez and Bernardo Silva. That's just my opinion. Love to know your thoughts of that in the comments below. And obviously Gabriel Jesus will be starting up front. Don't rule out possibly a Raheem Sterling starting up front and maybe a Mahrez and Bernardo Silva out on the wings. Like I said, this is a game where I'm expecting to see changes, and because we're making so many changes, because we're playing every 3 or 4 days, I think it's a good time to start, you know, altering positions, see what players works where, see what happens. But at the end of the day, we'll probably end up looking disjointed, and things might not go to plan. We'll go one of two ways to try something new, because what's happening at the moment isn't working. So the game, 8:15 PM, weird kick-off time, I know, but because it's on Amazon Prime, and Amazon Prime's got access to all 10 Premier League games through this midweek, they've got all kinds of weird kick-off times. 8:15 isn't ideal on a Tuesday night. It's going to be freezing cold. It is freezing cold in the United Kingdom and in the northwest at this moment in time. It's going to be cold. I'm touching near freezing temperatures. So Burnley, I presume it's going to be a sellout crowd. They're going to be well up for this, so this is going to be a very difficult game. This is a game where we really do need to play well and turn up, because anything other than that, I feel like we'll be dropping points. So there we go, that's been the video. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget, like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you all again for the next video. So it's been JSGC. I hope you'll have a wonderful rest of your day. Fingers crossed, 3 points. I'll see you all again for the match analysis, which will be up at some point on Wednesday, so stay tuned for that. So it's been JSGC. Peace. Ciao for now.